up there and hang out.
Like open the fridge and stuff, and there'll always be foods laid out for us with little pre-wrapped sausages and things. They have pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon.
Well, can you blame them?
Yeah.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat,
but not a real fur coat, that's cruel.
and if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet, yep.
like a llama or an emu.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you John Merrick's remains.
ooh, all them crazy elephant bones.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy you. If I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to walk to the store.
if I had $1 million,
Now we'd take a limousine 'cause it costs
if
more.
I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner.
but we would eat Kraft dinner
Of course we would. We just eat more.
and buy really expensive ketchups with it.
That's right. All the fanciest Dijon ketchup.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a green dress.
but not a real green dress, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you some art.
a Picasso or a Garfunkel.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a monkey.
haven't you always wanted a monkey?
If I had $1 million, I'd buy you love. If I had $1 million,
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 I'd be rich.
if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
buy you furniture for your house.
maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a K car.
a nice Reliant automobile.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy you love. If I had $1 million,
I'd build a tree fort in our yard.
if I had $1 million,
You could help, it wouldn't be that hard.
if I had $1 million,
Maybe we could put a little tiny fridge in there somewhere.
we could just go up there and hang out.
Like open the fridge and stuff, and there'll always be foods laid out for us with little pre-wrapped sausages and things. They have pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon.
Well, can you blame them?
Yeah.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat,
but not a real fur coat, that's cruel.
and if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet, yep.
like a llama or an emu.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you John Merrick's remains.
ooh, all them crazy elephant bones.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to walk to the store.
if I had $1 million,
Now we'd take a limousine 'cause it costs
if
more.
I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner.
but we would eat Kraft dinner
Of course we would. We just eat more.
and buy really expensive ketchups with it.
That's right. All the fanciest Dijon ketchup.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a green dress.
but not a real green dress. That's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you some art.
a Picasso or a Garfunkel.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a monkey.
haven't you always wanted a monkey?
If I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
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 I'd be rich.
if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
buy you furniture for your house.
maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a K car.
a nice Reliant automobile.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
I'd build a tree fort in our yard.
if I had $1 million,
You could help, it wouldn't be that hard.
if I had $1 million,
Maybe we could put a little tiny fridge in there somewhere.
we could just go up there and hang out.
Like open the fridge and stuff, and there'll always be foods laid out for us with little pre-wrapped sausages and things. They have pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon.
Well, can you blame them?
Yeah.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat.
but not a real fur coat. That's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet.
yep, like a llama or an emu.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you John Merrick's remains.
ooh, all them crazy elephant bones.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to walk to the store.
if I had $1 million,
Now we'd take a limousine
would eat Kraft dinner
Of course we would. We just eat more.
and buy really expensive ketchups with it.
That's right. All the fanciest Dijon ketchup.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a green dress.
but not a real green dress. That's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you some art.
a Picasso or a Garfunkel.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a monkey.
haven't you always wanted a monkey?
If I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
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 I'd be rich.
if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
buy you furniture for your house.
maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a K car.
a nice Reliant automobile.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
I'd build a tree fort in our yard.
if I had $1 million,
You could help, it wouldn't be that hard.
if I had $1 million,
Maybe we could put like a little tiny fridge in there somewhere.
we could just go up there and hang out.
Like open the fridge and stuff. And probably be
Welcome to the webinar. Please stand by. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon.
Well, can you blame them?
Oh yeah.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat.
but not a real fur coat. That's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet. Yep.
like a llama or an emu.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you John Merrick's remains.
ooh, all them crazy elephant bones.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
if I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to walk to the store.
if I had $1 million,
We'd take a limousine 'cause it costs
if
more.
I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner.
but we would eat Kraft dinner
Of course we would. We just eat more.
and buy really expensive ketchups with it.
That's right. All the fanciest Dijon ketchup.
If I had $1 million,
If I
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
buy you a green dress.
but not a real green dress. That's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you some art.
a Picasso or a Garfunkel.
If I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you a monkey.
haven't you always wanted a monkey?
If I had $1,000,000, I'd buy you love. If I had
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
$1,000,000,
if I had $1,000,000,
if I had $1,000,000,
if I had $1,000,000,
I'd be rich.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
if I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
buy you furniture for your house.
maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman.
And if I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you a K car.
a nice Reliant automobile.
And if I
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
if I had $1,000,000,
I'd build a tree fort in our yard.
if I had $1,000,000,
You could help, it wouldn't be that hard.
if I had $1,000,000,
Maybe we could put like a little tiny fridge in there somewhere.
we could just go up there and hang out.
Like open the fridge and stuff, and there always be foods laid out for us with little pre-wrapped sausages and things. They have pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon.
Well, can you blame them?
Yeah.
If I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat.
but not a real fur coat, that's cruel.
And if I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet. Yep.
like a llama or an emu.
And if I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you John Merrick's remains.
ooh, all them crazy elephant bones.
And if I had $1,000,000, I'd buy you if I had $1,000,000,
We wouldn't have to walk to the store.
if I had $1,000,000,
Now we'd take a limousine 'cause it costs
if
more.
I had $1,000,000,
We wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner.
but we would eat Kraft dinner
Of course we would. We just eat more.
and buy really expensive ketchups with it.
That's right. All the fanciest Dijon ketchup.
If I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you a green dress.
but not a real green dress, that's cruel.
And if I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you some art.
a Picasso or a Garfunkel.
If I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you a monkey.
haven't you always wanted a monkey?
If I had $1,000,000, I'd buy you love. If I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
if I had $1,000,000,
if I had
if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
buy you furniture for your house.
maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a K car.
a nice Reliant automobile.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
I'd build a tree fort in our yard.
if I had $1 million,
You could help, it wouldn't be that hard.
if I had $1 million,
Maybe we can put like a little tiny fridge in there somewhere.
we could just go up there and hang out.
Like open the fridge and stuff, and there'll always be foods laid out for us with little pre-wrapped sausages and things. They have pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon.
Well, can you blame them?
Oh yeah.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat.
but not a real fur coat, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet.
yep, like a llama or an emu.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you John Merrick's remains.
ooh, all them crazy elephant bones.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to walk to the store.
if I had $1 million,
Now we'd take a limousine 'cause it costs
if
more.
I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner.
but we would eat Kraft dinner
Of course we would. We just eat more.
and buy really expensive ketchups with it.
That's right. All the fanciest Dijon ketchup.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a green dress.
but not a real green dress, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you some art.
a Picasso or a Garfunkel.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a monkey.
haven't you always wanted a monkey?
If I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
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 I'd be rich.
if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
buy you furniture for your house.
maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a K car.
a nice Reliant automobile.
And if If I had $1,000,000, I'd buy your love. If I had $1,000,000,
I'd build a tree fort in our yard.
if I had $1,000,000,
You could help, it wouldn't be that hard.
if I had $1,000,000,
Maybe we could put like a little tiny fridge in there somewhere.
we could just go up there and hang out.
Like open the fridge and stuff, and there'll always be foods laid out for us with little pre-wrapped sausages and things. They have pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon.
Well, can you blame them?
Yeah.
If I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat.
but not a real fur coat, that's cruel.
And if I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet. Yep.
like a llama or an emu.
And if I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you John Merrick's remains.
through all them crazy elephant bones.
And if I had $1,000,000, I'd buy your love. If I had $1,000,000,
We wouldn't have to walk to the store.
if I had $1,000,000,
Now we'd take a limousine 'cause it costs
if
more.
I had $1,000,000,
We wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner.
but we would eat Kraft dinner
Of course we would. We just eat more.
and buy really expensive ketchups with it.
That's right. All the fanciest Dijon ketchup.
If I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you a green dress.
but not a real green dress, that's cruel.
And if I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you some art.
a Picasso or a Garfunkel.
If I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you a monkey.
haven't you always wanted a monkey?
If I had $1,000,000, I'd buy your love. If I had $1,000,000,
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 I'd be rich.
If I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
buy you furniture for your house.
maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman.
And if I had $1,000,000,
If I had $1,000,000,
well, I'd buy you a K car.
a nice Reliant automobile.
And if I had $1,000,000, I'd buy your love. If I had $1,000,000,
I'd build a tree fort in our yard.
if I had $1,000,000,
You could help, it wouldn't be that hard.
if I had $1,000,000,
Maybe we could put like a little tiny fridge in there somewhere.
we could just go up there and hang out.
Like open the fridge and stuff, and there'll always be foods laid out for us with little pre-wrapped pre-wrapped sausages and things. They have pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon.
Well, can you blame them?
Yeah.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat.
but not a real fur coat, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet.
yep, like a llama or an emu.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you John Merrick's remains.
ooh, all them crazy elephant bones.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy you If I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to walk to the store.
if I had $1 million,
Now we'd take a limousine 'cause it costs
if
more.
I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner.
but we would eat Kraft dinner
Of course we would. We just eat more.
and buy really expensive ketchups with it.
That's right. All the fanciest Dijon ketchup.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a green dress.
but not a real green dress, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you some art.
a Picasso or a Garfunkel.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a monkey.
haven't you always wanted a monkey?
If I had $1 million, I'd buy you love. If I had $1 million,
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 I'd be rich.
if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
buy you furniture for your house.
maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a K car.
a nice Reliant automobile.
And if I had $1 million, I'd buy your love. If I had $1 million,
I'd build a tree fort in our yard.
if I had $1 million,
You could help, it wouldn't be that hard.
if I had $1 million,
Maybe we can put a little tiny fridge in there somewhere.
we could just go up there and hang it.
Open the
Welcome to
fridge,
the webinar. Please stand by. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
sausages and things. They have pre-wrapped sausages, but they don't have pre-wrapped bacon.
Well, can you blame them?
Yeah.
If I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a fur coat.
but not a real fur coat, that's cruel.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you an exotic pet.
yep, like a llama or an emu.
And if I had $1 million,
If I had $1
value John Merrick's remains.
Ooh, all them crazy elephant bones.
And if I had $1 million,
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
if I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to walk to the store.
if I had $1 million,
Now we'd take a limousine 'cause it costs
if
more.
I had $1 million,
We wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
I really
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. It's Thursday. That means it's about time to start the Trading Studio webinar. Can you let me know in the questions panel if you can hear me and see that first slide okay? Hey, thanks, Todd. All right. Thank you, friends. So before we get going with the afternoon webinars, we ask a couple questions. First one is, do you currently have an active subscription with us? Yes or no? And keep in mind that the audience is muted. You need to use the questions panel to interact with us. And if you don't yet have an active subscription, also keep in mind we give out a discount code later on, and we'll have some details about our upcoming test drive. It's always a popular event. All right, so it looks like a little over 75% already have an active subscription with us. Welcome all. And like I mentioned, we do have that promo code and also a test drive coming up. Here's a quick follow-up for the subscribers in the room. Are you on premium or standard trade ideas? If you're not yet on premium and you want to do an upgrade, you can also sign up for the test drive, and it'll upgrade your account for the 2 weeks of the test drive into premium without an obligation to have to continue it, so you can see what all those goodies are like. And the promo code, of course, can also be used to do an upgrade if you just want to buy that today. It looks like most in the room today already have premium. Like I mentioned, those of you that may want to be looking to do an upgrade, there's 2 things coming up. There's that test drive and the promo code. We're going to record this and have the session up later on tonight or tomorrow. You'll get an email reminder tomorrow with a link on how to find that replay. And as usual, on Thursdays, your hosts are Jamie Hodge and Andy Lindloff. And I'm going to go ahead and hit that record button and let them take over. Hey, Andy and Jamie, what's going on today?
Hey, Scott. Thank you. Not a whole lot. Jamie, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, Andy. A little bit of interesting action in the markets over the past couple of days, but should be an interesting tomorrow.
Yeah. Crazy post-market action because we had a lot of companies reporting earnings. So anyway, that's going to be part of the a little segment that I have today on it. So it'll be fun to kind of take a look at some of these stocks that are trading in after hours. But thanks everybody for joining us today. My name is Andy, and that's Jamie, and this is the Trading Studio. So let's dive in. First, let's cover the disclaimer here. Jamie will be possible. Like and do that. Okay, so if you are looking for investment advice, you want to find a stockbroker, a registered advisor, somebody that holds that Series 7 license and can legally give you that kind of information. All right, but we do have some incredible support, education, and training here at Trade Ideas. This is a very important for the people who are new in here today, and there's probably going to get a lot of new people here in the next couple of weeks because we have another test drive coming up. Scott, I'm sure will touch on this toward the end. So it's very important that we be on top of our support game, our education game. So we have many resources, guys. We have a YouTube channel that is just full of videos, some really good ones in there to help you get going. And then we have webinars every day. We have Monday through Thursday at the same time slot. You can see them over there on the left side. It's myself, Jamie, and Steve. We kind of toss around, paired up into throughout the week. But on Wednesday, you get our CEO, Dan Merkin, and our CTO, Brad Williams, which is a great Q&A and also a great demo for things that are coming around the corner. And we constantly have stuff coming around the corner. So be sure to catch that when you can. The support webinar that you see in the bottom, that is the best place to come for Q&A. We open up a live stream. In other words, well, we actually steal berries for about an hour during the day. And it's a great place to come if you have any questions, because you can ask your questions and we'll have a desktop sharing going, as you know, so we can show you and not just answer an email, you know, where it's kind of difficult just to use text to answer when it comes to a sophisticated software like this. It's much better if you have a visual. All right, so please, if you can, get to those. Even if you don't have a question at the time, get in there. You'll learn a lot, I guarantee you. All right, simulated trading interface that we have called Brokerage Plus. I think I've said this over and over, but it needs repeating. I've probably traded on a dozen softwares in my life, and this is probably the cleanest, the smoothest interface that I've used. It's just it's bright, it's simple, it's easy to use, and it's just a great interface. And you have access to this even if you have a standard subscription. There's no extra charge for this simulated trading. You can day trade, swing trade, invest. You can do anything you want to on it, and it's just a really great tool. And put it to use, especially if you're new to trading. You need to get in there and use the simulated trading for several months before you dive into live action. All right, the agenda for today, we're going to do the market recap, as always, Holly recap. I'm going to revisit I like the odds. You know, I like to do this if I share an alert with you or a top list with you, and because a lot of times I'll build it the day I'm going to present it. And then as I watch it over the next couple of weeks, or I get people emailing me like I had in this case saying, hey, I'm finding some really great trades on this. I like the odds. So I like to turn around and revisit it and kind of just go through what it's looking for, give you the reason why it's spitting out some opportunity. And then we'll, of course, I'll share it again for anybody who wasn't here 3 weeks ago whenever I presented it. You can have access to it today. Then I just built a little, it's kind of the same as our post-market channel, but I just kind of custom built a change in post-market top list. Something that I'd like to do when you have a lot of earnings on one day is just kind of have this up and looking at it. It's pretty cool. You get to see the stock. Of course, it refreshes every 30 seconds, so it can move around quite a bit during that time, but it's really neat to watch, and it can be very helpful too. I'm not encouraging anybody to trade in after hours. A lot of times it's going to be just great getting ready for the next day, you know, seeing how stocks traded in the after hours, and not just relying to wake up in the morning and just look at the pre-market. You can see, you know, what stocks were strong and post-market, which in most cases will lead over to the pre-market. So it's a way you can do some homework the night before. And then we'll look to see if there's any price alert winners. Once again, it's been a tough market, and I think this week alerts will vouch for that. All right, let's back out now and let's dive into the market here. Let's see Apple trading a little bit down here in after hours, and let's pull up the SPYs. And let's see, guys, you know, it's been kind of ugly over the last 3 weeks now. I mentioned even last week that, you know, the bears have been kind of in control over 2 weeks now. Now it looked on this day last week that maybe we were going to see some you know, some breakout to the top side, break this little flag pattern, but that wasn't the case. We got right up below that 10-period moving average. Let me pull my cursor up. I hate when I do that, and so you guys can see. And a little pointer here. So you can see on this day right here, we got right below this kind of sloping 10-period moving average that you're seeing there. But we didn't get through, and the next day was a gap down and go, and we closed below all three major averages. The following day on this day could not get back above, okay? And then, of course, yesterday was just an ugly, horrendous day as we dove down there in the SPYs. Obviously, today was encouraging if you're bullish, but you can see now it's kind of trading down in after hours a little bit, just I think because of the majority of the earnings, and we'll talk about those, like I said, here in a minute. But I think if you look at the Qs, you're going to see the last time I looked, they were down further. No, they're about equal to the SPYs. I think some of those stocks came back, like Apple. Like I said, we'll take a look at all that here in a minute. So where might we be heading? Okay, right now we're sitting here on a very, very strong pivot point right here on the SPYs, kind of where we've been bouncing the last 2 days. I think we need to watch this level. I think if you're bullish, you'd like to hold that level. A violation of that level, obviously next area of support is way down here at 320. It's a pretty decent drop. And then below that, we could have a date with this little 200 period moving average right here. And it wouldn't surprise me. Remember, guys, where we're headed. I can anticipate, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it wouldn't surprise me a bit, some profit taking going into the election. So I think you got to, kind of keep your powder dry. I don't think it's a time to be, heavily invested. Personally, I think the risk outweighs the reward, in my opinion. And we could see these levels coming up here. We'll have to see. I think tomorrow's action will dictate with all these big tech companies that reported after hours. If they break and we break some major areas of support, this can definitely be in the eyesight of the price action for sure. All right, let me clear my screen here and get back on. So not a whole lot more to say. IWM was kind of holding the lead over the last several weeks as far as relative strength goes, but even it's fallen now below its moving averages, just right underneath its 50-period moving average, but nothing going on there really. And the Dow I'm not even going to look at because it's really only a 30 stock. So Jamie, anything you want to add to this? I think it's if you're real bullish, it's time to be cautious because you have a lot of rolling moving averages. We've broken below the majority of them, all except the 200-day moving average, just kind of right in the middle right here. So kind of in no man's land, sitting on a pivot point. But I think you break that pivot point, things could get scary.
Yeah, and that's pretty. I mean, the beauty is in the simplicity here. There's not. It's not like a big maze to figure out right here. I mean, the 200 down there beckoning, and if we do get weak, I mean, from where we are now to that low, what is that day right there on the SPY? Can't.
This right here?
Yeah, that is the,
24th.
Yeah, just that day before that gap, that gap bar that we just covered up.
Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
So, yeah, on the 24th there, boy, it wouldn't take much to push through that level. And if that occurs, it could get interesting.
Yeah. And I'm not seeing any trends here, obviously this trend that you may have caught right there was broken. So nothing really to draw as far as a trend line. Maybe I could pull up the weekly and do something, but well, let's just take a look. Nah, not really. We had such a move off that March low there that there's just really nothing to go on here. It's kind of a mess. So really only looking at support lines right now. I don't think there's a major trend that's going to hold us up. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm in a lot of cash right now for that reason. All right, Jamie. You want to take it over? There's definitely some Holly action out there today. You want to go over that real quick, or not even real quick? You can take as long as you want.
Yeah, this definitely Holly came to life today, you could say. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the desktop here.
Okay.
All right, should have eyes on.
I got it.
Let's go ahead and expand out my Holly trades plotter because, boy, she was pretty busy today. And as you can see, we had our red, but we had our green as well. And the good part is, after you tally it all up, there's more green than red. Quick little survey here. How many trades did we have total? Holly 1.0 kicking out 10 signals. Neo coming up with 9. And little 2.0 doing quite well, but only having 2 signals there. So total of 21 signals, and we can see them all here. I'll just go ahead and expand this out a little bit. And there we have it. So there's a little bit of something, there's a little bit of everything to talk about today, because typically 3 different categories that I like to, try to highlight here: conservative and moderate profit spread. And as you can see here, we got some pretty fat spreads just in these top 2 trades right here in WIN and CRTO. So we'll take a look at those. honorable mention on Shaq between 11.25 and 91 bucks, but these two top ones here definitely take the cake. So let's just go ahead and dive into this one real quick. That win, boy, not a huge percentage value, but man, just a nice move on many fronts. So here we are looking at the 5-minute candles, and this signal come in about as early as Holly trades, typically about 6 minutes and 8 seconds into the open. Coming in with that buy signal, as you can see over here, 69.54. And then it was just off to the races here. And something that we don't see very often, boom, that target was hit pretty quickly there. So, not including the entry bar, 5, 10, 15 minutes later, boom, she was closing the trade out because the profit target had been hit. And that is the conservative profit closeout right there. Pulling out basically 1 point on 313 shares. But boy, if you would have just given it a little bit more time, big difference between $313 and going into the close, $854. But up here at the top, we were up closer to 900 and change. So almost a triple as opposed to the conservative profit exit. And on this one, it's not like it was throwing any elbows. Stop loss was way down here. Boy, once it took off, it just never looked back. So there is no shaded area because the profit target, but that was right here, right there. And then what do we have after that? We just had a nice little consolidation period for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. And then check it out here, a nice little, can't call it an opening range break, but a nice little area where the buyers and sellers became equal. And then we topped out of this little consolidation period here. So this would have also been a nice place to add to the position. If you're a more aggressive trader looking to add to that position. How was volume on Win today? Let's just pull the single stock window over. Not huge volume, but about 33% above normal. What do we usually kick out? Almost 4 million shares. Came in right at the 3-month daily average, just slightly over on the relative scale. But then what I really like about this one is it sets up one more time as we take a little nap in this range right here, and then boom, pop it again later into the day, 72.35. Could have milked it for about not quite another point there. But definitely a great example of just holding and sticking to your guns, being patient, and pulling out almost a triple compared to conservative profit with a couple of options to add to the position. This being the first add, this being the second add over here. So just a really great trade on many different levels for Win. Now let's take a peek at CRTO. This was definitely kind of one of my favorites because, let me just stretch this out a little bit. Because of what we had right here, right at the signal, okay? In this 5-minute bar right here, that's where we get the signal, the 1503. And what do we have with Holly, or what do we always have with Holly? We've got statistical probability on our side. Tailwind is the one generating the trade here. And we can see Tailwind came into the session, not the highest odds, but 61.7%. Not a bad way to start a trade. We know that we've got odds on our side. At the same time, we're way down here. Notice the little area of consolidation here, 5, 10, 15, 25 minutes or so. Take a little jump up here. Buyers couldn't really take it on up in the second 5-minute period, so they winged it back down here. Buyers and sellers became equal for a little bit, but that was a nice tell, that upward wick right there. So where do my eyes go from here? Well, right up here to the opening range break, which occurred not in the candle that we had the entry, but that next candle, boom, broke that opening range break, top of that wick, off to the races. Once again, this would have been a really great area right here as we got through this level to add to that position. So number one, we had a statistical probability with Holly. Number two, when we were still down here, we had the potential for an auxiliary pattern in the form of an opening range break to play out, which it did. And number three, we had massive volume in CRTO all day. That little guy coming in at 8.33 on the relative scale, usually only kicking out less than 300,000 shares. But today it was in play, so liquidity and volume were both present. So another great example of either adding to the position here, having 3 great characteristics to start the trade: statistical probability, auxiliary pattern, and plenty of volume. And then just being patient. Now, of course, it's always going to be a little difficult to sit a wiggle of this nature, okay? And obviously, this is where we have to apply a little bit of risk management, peeling some off. If you would have used a break-even stop, yeah, you would have had to sit the pullback, but eventually you got to go all the way back up and close pretty much at highs going into the close. So a lot of good things about this trade. Worked out beautifully, and that's about it on that one. Shaq, let's take a peek. Not near as grandiose as what we just saw in WIN and CRTO, but big difference between booking an $11.25 profit based on $100 risk as opposed to almost 9 times that amount, okay, or 8 times that amount, we could say. Not a bad little entry here. I also like the little area of congestion here, or consolidation. Nice and tight, well above of course, we're not looking at 15-minute candles here, but still above that 10-period fast line, which I've noticed most of the time works on the 5-minute level or the 5-minute intraday as well. But this guy giving us a little immediate gratification as we popped up to these lines, but didn't make it easy, popping all the way back down, just kind of hemming and hawing between that initial top that was down here. So we get a little bleedy over here, but all we really had to do on Shaq today was just be patient, let things work out. Surely, slowly but surely, 12:45 my time, this would be 1:45 Eastern. What do we get? We get another auxiliary pattern playing out. Volume on Shake Shack, nothing spectacular, but still a good 3/4 or 75% above average on the relative scale. So once again, as far as adding to a position, this would have been a great time right here as we broke that range right there. So that was a nice little move on a secondary pattern unfolding, 67.82 up to about 69 and change, not quite 69.50. So a little patience, little adding opportunity right here. Could have easily turned this $91 profit, you know, if you would have added to it into a couple hundred, 300. So some really great examples here of conservative and moderate profit, not only showing you these, but explaining to you in real time before, you know, these charts are finished, how you can use this type of methodology to just decide to ignore the exit criteria that Holly's spitting out and stick with the trade as long as it's working and it looks good. And, you know, that's about it for conservative and moderate profit spread and add-ons. Do have one decent example of a trade around, okay? And you can see Holly spit out quite a few trades today and we had quite a few green, but man, look at all these stop outs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And what we're focusing on here is how did they finish, right? If we're risking $100 per trade, well, we can see here that our stop loss on most of these was the right call. It's saving us a lot of money, right? If we would have tried to, you know, be stubborn and stay in these, we would have lost a lot more than $100 on the majority of these. The only one that wouldn't have lost that much, that recuperated a little bit, was CAR. Not really much to talk about on that one, but this one right here, INOV. Classic example of, you know, a potential good trade around. Now, Holly got popped out of this one pretty quickly. Lost my spot here. Okay, so INOV was a short play. What a crazy opening 5-minute candle we had there after a pretty significant gap down. Boom, all the way back up, little dead cat action, I'd call that. And then we get short right here, only to be stopped out relatively quickly. Let's see how long we were in the trade here. Like less than 3 minutes. 9:14 Central Standard Time entry time, 9:17 closeout. That was quick. But notice what it did or how it acted around that stop area. We kind of flatlined a little bit, took another wick up to it here, and then started marching on down. Now, if you're thinking about a trade around, you know, moving forward as you watch Holly, you see something get stopped out, take note of how it operates or how it reacts around that stop area. It's either going to blow through it like most of these do and never come back to it, but this one just barely tickled it, stuck with it right here, and then edged on back down. So this would have been a great opportunity based on the way it reacted around that stop area. You know, whether you waited for these 2 bars to close, get down in this little range, take another stab at it. This is definitely a second mouse gets the cheese trade today. But that second entry right at that pivot area, or that stop area that acted nicely as a pivot area, would have paid some nice dividends today. You know, original entry line would have been fine, and this thing bleeding on down to the low 19s before it was all said and done. So great example of a potential trade around in INOV. Nice conservative and moderate profit spread in WIN, CRTO. And once again, CRTO just shaping up with a lot of good factors there. So Andy, any other Holly trades that you'd like me to point out here before I pass it on back to you?
No, man, you hit them all. You covered it really good, Jamie. So appreciate it, man. You can fire
Very
it back over.
good, sir. Let me kick it back over to you.
All right. So, yeah, you know, I about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, somebody wrote me and said, Andy, I'm looking for what I want to see is a stock that has run up, you know, on the day, is pulled back, but instead of buying the pullback, they wanted to see the stock basically turning around and running up on some volume. So I said, yeah, you know, I think we can do that. So let's just take a look at the configuration. I'm not going to break it down like I did 3 weeks ago, but nonetheless, we'll take a look at the configuration to see how I constructed this. And the alert I'm using is a 15-minute high. Okay. I think I tried it with a 5-minute high and a 15-minute high. The 15-minute high just was kind of more confirmation that it was actually, you know, changing its course, and the pullback had stopped, and now it had turned and is kind of resuming its upward momentum. So that's the kind of stuff I'm looking for. And if I go to filters here, you are going to see that change from the close. We're looking for something that's up 2%. Okay, so looking for stocks that are, you know, up pretty good on the day. The price has to be over $3. Relative volume has to be 1.5. And the volume, the 5-minute, has to be at least 300%, which is basically just 3 times normal 5-minute, you know, volume. We don't want to see the stock bouncing off the pullback and just going up on anemic volume. We want some sort of volume coming in. And the average daily volume just needs to be on average 200,000 shares a day. But here's the kicker. This is the only thing I'm using to assure that the stock has pulled back and it's turning and moving upward. The position in range, this is looking at the intraday range. Okay, so every range has a range from 0% being the low end of that range and 100% being the high end of that range. So I know if I bracket it here at 60 and a max of 85, I know it's at least 15% of the range from going to highs. And I know it's pulled back because obviously it's nowhere near 100%. That would be the high of that range. So the stock is pulled back. It's doing it's hitting a 15-minute high now, and it's right kind of in this sweet spot, you know, where it potentially can go to a new high. So, you know, a lot of times I rely on you guys, and luckily a couple of people, you know, did write me and say, hey, you know, I'm liking this alert. I like the odds because I'm catching some good trades in there. So it's good because I create a lot, and sometimes I just after I'll put them away and forget to look at them again. But this is one I'm definitely going to, you know, keep an eye on, because when I hear, you know, customers telling me that they're catching some good stuff off there, hey, that gets my attention. So let's take a look at today just to see if there's anything that would have kind of met our eye. Let me see, go today. And obviously this thing, okay, this makes sense why it's waiting till 9 o'clock. I'm Central Time, so the market opens at 8:30. So this is 30 minutes into the day. Okay, because we have to have our pullback, and then we have to have our stock reverse and hit a 15-minute high. So I kind of like that. You know, this alert's going to keep you out of chasing things, you know, in the first 5, 10, 15 minutes of the open. So let's just kind of go through here and see what we got. And probably gonna, for me, I would probably even go a little bit later. I'd probably catch these ones a little bit later, but we'll take a look at all of them here. Well, that was a good one right there. IPHI. We know that when we saw this one coming in through our momentum scans all day long. And this is exactly what we're looking for. Okay. Look here. I mean, exactly what happened. It's up over 2%. It pulled back, and there we got our trigger there at 135.46. We know this one, geez, pretty much ran all day and then closed kind of sideways, but some great opportunity. This is textbook, isn't it, Jamie? Almost like a little range break there, a little horseshoe pattern.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's take a look at this AVD. That one really just kind of went sideways, but you would have definitely stomached a downturn there. So not really great there. That's a good one. Look at this. As a matter of fact, somebody wrote me today and said that this is one of the ones I think they caught. There's your little alert right there. You can see the blue line at 306. If you like playing small price stocks, immediately ran all the way up to almost, let's see, over 350, pulled back and even finished, close up around the 380 range. So great one right there. This one just kind of didn't do anything. Nice call there. 15-minute high right at 34.56. Now it didn't do anything, didn't run all day, but you still ran as high as 35.75. So that's $1.25 in that move after you got the alert. And there's another good one. You got the alert at 66.50, got as high as 67.95, or in this 30-minute move up to 67.75. So it's another $1.25 right there. Beautiful one right there. Look at that little call right there. You got the signal at 66.91 and got as high as $70 on that one. So there's POLA again. Not bad there. Let's see, 35. So you're seeing, guys, you're getting some nice little moves after these stocks have pulled back, and then you're getting a 15-minute high on some decent volume. This is one you might want to add. Got a quick move there and then kind of pulled back on you nasty. That one really didn't do anything, went sideways. Not going to take a look at all these, but we're definitely going to come through here and see if we see. That one wasn't bad. Nothing happened there. That's a great one right there. That's kind of stuff. That's a beautiful one. That's what. This is where you don't have to be staring at a stock. You could just be looking at a window. Our technology, you can pretty much create any kind of pattern that you want, and you just let this dish you out ideas. Okay. You can see the volume was there, 1 minute volume. There's your 5 minute volume. So everything's there. The pattern's beautiful, breaking out, and you got a little extension all day long on that one. Nothing kind of went sideways there. Another good one there. So I'm seeing a lot more good ones. One could argue, well, the market was pretty good today. That's true too, but nonetheless, there's still a lot of bet. There's a beautiful one right there. Save. So I'm going to share this again for some of you, for those who may not have received it, and for those who haven't, you might want to take a look at this because I'm seeing some really good trades. Another great one right there. That one was kind of ugly. Wow. Seeing so this is textbook. Let me draw this out for you. So you can't ask for a better signal than this right here. Here's your move. Now the daily's kind of ugly. I don't know if I would have traded this one, but nonetheless, at the intraday, this is what you want to see. Stock moves up. You didn't want to chase all these bars. You got the pullback right here, and then you got the signal right as it took out that high of that bar right there, 15-minute high. So that is powerful. So I am going to share this again, guys, and I'm going to drop it into the chat window of your GoToWebinar interface. I like the odds, and I'm going to be paying closer attention to this. It's a good one. I'm just going to call it odds. And there you have it. Anybody who has the software, for you new people in here, I just dropped the cloud link in there. They're able to grab that cloud link and they immediately have access to this alert. It's one thing great about Trade Idea software. Let's see, from the same one you've posted before. Let's see. Does this one? No tweaks. This is the exact same one that I posted before, Josh. Yes, Dave says one of the best features. I think he said that before too. You're welcome, Josh. You're welcome. Does Holly alert you to trade setups or stocks that are on the radar? No, they're not on the radar. Okay, when you see a Holly alert, you see it in real time. Okay, right when she makes it. So it's not. Now, I shouldn't say that. You can put it on your radar. That's what a lot of traders do. They take a look at it. Most of the traders don't trade auto trade Holly. Okay, they use it as a very good alerting system. And if it meets their parameters and they like what they see, they'll take the trade manually. You can auto trade it, but I think for the most part, myself, Barry, I just like to look and see if I like something, and then I just trade it manually.
Yeah, in essence, you could say that the strategy complement that she brings to each session is the radar, right? And then, if something matches up, then boom, the radar spits it out onto the live trade blotter. Yeah.
Very good. Yep, that's right. All right. So I was looking today and I saw that we had just tons and tons of earnings, some big announcement from Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google. I don't know when they decided they're going to all start reporting on the same day, but that's what we have now. And it's good. I kind of wanted to put together, now I know we have a post-market channel, but I just put together, one that I like, and we'll take a look at it here. It's just basically a change in post-market. There's nothing to it. If we look at the configuration, it's very simple. Stock just needs to be above $5. I got these set for thick stocks. I shouldn't say thick, at least trading 500,000 shares a day. You can take this and put it to 200,000, whatever, float your boat, 300,000. But I like to see about 500,000 shares at least on average. And then put the earnings date. I just put 0.75 in the minimum, 0.75 in the max. I know I'm only going to see stocks that have earnings after the close today. So, you can actually have this up during the day too, and you can see stocks who are maybe moving into the close. I was doing a little bit of that today. That's kind of fun to watch. But I think what it is, a lot of people, they just come in the morning and they just look at pre-market to see which stocks, are gapping up and gapping down. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, a lot of these stocks that you see in after hours can change by the time the AM come, once you have analysts, looking at it and people are reading into the earnings release report and things like that. So a lot of changes can happen, but still it's a good idea, to do some homework at night and see what reported earnings and how they traded in after hours. And then you can look again in the pre-market. But personally, me, I didn't trade a lot of after hours when I was a day trader. I was a day trader for 17 years. I did do some pre-market trading. I thought pre-market was easier than aftermarket. It's not as shocking, it seems like, because these earnings come out right after the bell, and all of a sudden these things start flying around all over the place as people try to read through the earnings. But anyway, yeah, be careful of trading after hours. But I think it's great to have maybe a top list up, especially on these days where a lot of companies report. And I don't know why that's doing. Why it won't stay up here? Try this. There we go. So yeah, I was watching this. Remember, a top list refreshes every 30 seconds. So it first came out, you see Facebook up here and Twitter up here, and then all of a sudden it refreshes after 30 seconds. They're gone and they're trading down at the bottom, especially Twitter, just getting destroyed. That's a company I can't figure out. I mean, really, this thing has been mired in mediocrity its whole life, and it just cannot. You think this would be trading up there with Facebook and Amazon, but it just has done nothing, and I don't know what the problem is. But once again, yeah, just getting destroyed after hours.
It's getting shellacked and
it is
post-market.
Look at that, down 16% in post-market. Woo, that's brutal. Apple, look at that, not doing. I guess I did read where their iPhone sales may have missed the mark, but and the strong ones today, a lot of kind of Google's having good after hours. Doesn't surprise me. Plantronics, Trupp. Oh, good night. Great. It's up, what is that, 16%? Nice day for that. Stein, I think, was trading. I saw it earlier. Yeah, it's trading up. So nothing earth-shattering in this top list. It's just a way. I just wanted to share this with you guys. It's just maybe a little more pleasing to the eye, than what you find, in the, you kind of. I got them color coordinated so you can see the breaks there. The dark colors are the ones up the most, and you got the little kind of goes into a lighter green and then down to a white for those which are negative. I guess that's a white. But I'm trying to see if anything else is. Shack trading down a little bit. It's really only Twitter. Skechers getting killed. The Twitter's the only one getting destroyed. That's good. That's brutal. All right, I'm gonna share this with you just in case anybody just kind of wants it to have handy, and that way if you just want to pull up this and not have to go to the channel, you can do that. Just something to keep an eye out. And like I said, you can pull this up during the day, and you can see. God, it's jumping around on me. Change it. Post market share. All right, I'll do that here in just a minute. All right, anybody that wants it can take a look at it. And yeah, what you can do, guys, let's say you want to, I can go into my time frame here and put it on maybe 2 o'clock today, my time, hour before the close. And you can see which stocks are actually, well, this IPHI was wrong. So we're not going to pay attention to that. But Plantronics must have known something. Look at how this traded all day long, right? And 2 earnings, and that big old green bar, and now look what's happening after. So Twitter just the opposite. Trading up, going into the post market, and then failed. Facebook, a lot of people betting on that. See how Apple was doing. Apple was up. Yeah, almost 5%. So, yeah, some of these things were moving in after hours, anticipating good earnings. A lot of people got their little heads cut off, especially in Twitter. I'm sure a lot of people underwater in that one today, because that was setting up so beautifully just going into it. See some questions coming in, Jamie. What do I got to hit here? Let's see. Or are they just comments? Let's see here. It was only a nickel for Apple.
Oh, sorry, I was talking on mute.
Okay.
Yeah, Stan, that's odd because typically the client uses very little local resources. You might have a couple of top lists perhaps that are hiding, and you might have that top list watching a lot of stocks. That's the first thing that comes to mind. But usually, we don't take up very much of your local resources because we're just pumping out the results. All the number crunching is done on our servers. But if you keep getting bogged down and it's not the large top list issue, well, feel free to pop into live chat at some point tomorrow and we can help you troubleshoot that.
Yeah. It's usually the culprits are top lists. If you're running running more than like 100, your count versus like if you're running like 500 to 1,000, that just taking up so much bandwidth. I don't know if you've been with us a while, Stan. I'm not sure if it's something that just happened recently, or did you add some more windows or what? But yeah, he's right. Come to our website chat, and we can maybe diagnose it for you. All right. Oh yeah, let's take a look at the price alerts. And once again, more verification that this is a tough market. You remember last week, guys, we only had about 2 or 3 winners and the rest were all losers. Well, look at here this week. You see the names. All right. And look at, had a couple of them that didn't trigger. But the rest of them, look at this. from trigger, and all of them are down. So it just tells me right there, more verification. That's been a tough market. Okay, we've seen this now for 2 weeks. One of the reasons I pulled way back, because times are tough right now, and you have to adjust to tough times. And I don't anticipate to be any easier tomorrow with the way earnings scattered all over the place. But nonetheless, we're going to do it again because it's fun. And this maybe, you know what happens? Maybe we get a great week next week, and that's kind of our all systems go. You know, maybe the market turns around or something, but things get easier to trade. But so far, the last couple of weeks, it's been tough. So nothing to write home, but I guess we have to have a winner, and that would be Stan G, because even with the loser, you know what? We're going to make a new rule. Okay.
He had the best loser. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't have a loser as a winner. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's not. I thought we had one down here, but that's not. All right. So we're going to clear these off, and we are going to try it again. And here's the rule, guys. Let's get more people to play so we can get some winners next week. Okay, all you need to do is give me a stock and give me a price to set the alert. Of course, I'm going to assume it's a long unless you tell me it's a short. Okay, so let's everybody participate, and because we can get some good ideas from this as well. All right. Delete those, and let's start again here. We have, okay, Stan, you won. You're right, you won. All right, well, I only see one right now. We got to get some more participants in here, and that's Bill with. I think you called this workhorse out before, didn't you, Bill? Oh, okay, I see what you're doing there. Let's see at 18.
Oh, Andy, we got a Neo short.
Oh, we're gonna short my Neo, huh? All right, he's going to call this at 18, so we'll just stick it in there then. And that was Bill E. Okay, somebody's going with, I like it. I like it. Neo. Which, by the way, guys, if, most of you know, I've been in this. I'm still in it. We're great. This caught me off guard today. I actually wanted to add, but I did not. I was not seeing this coming in, and I didn't get to add them up, but I still have a position. All right, Neo short at $27. Oh, that's a long drop before you short it, but we'll do it in there. I see what you're looking at. Yeah. All right, so we're going to leave it at short, and we're going to put it at $27. And that would be Daniel. All right, and we got SQQQ. And that is at, I got to scroll back here. 2401 from Dave. 2401 from Dave. Why does it have a short in there? Oh, I bet this thing is going to trigger. Hold on. Yeah, it's at 2402 right now. So I'll put it at like 2406. That way we can give you credit for it. And that was Dave. It's all right. If it goes off, I'm just going to leave it in there for you. All right. mRNA from David Harper. He's looking at maybe a vaccine. 20, I'm sorry, where was it? 71. Oh, he's looking for a pullback. I'm assuming that's a long. Okay, it's trading below, so we'll just leave it there. And that is David H. Okay, where am I at now? Baba at 308 long. Chinese stocks have been doing really well at 308. Looking for a pullback to 308 for a long position. And that was Gane? I'm not. AAXN 104.54. And that was from Paul. Yeah. Zoom long. Alan, I need a price on that. On that Zoom long. Oh gosh, we got a lot coming in here. May have to get you to start rattling them off for me.
Hey, no worries. You're on AAXN currently.
Yeah, guys.
Right?
If you didn't, well, I was on. Go down to Neo. I'll take the other end of that Neo.
Right. George is saying, is that a buy? Yeah, buy at 27 on Neo.
Okay, George. I hope it doesn't. I'm going to have to make this a little bit different. Let's see. I'm going to have to go a little bit higher because I can't do it right at 27 because it'll throw my. I don't want to do it 27.43 long. And that was George?
Correct.
Okay. George Y. All right. What's the next one?
Next, we got DMRC, David Mary Robert Canary, short at 33 for Josh.
Okay. Ooh, that helps out, Jamie. All right.
All right. Next, we got PLUG plug, long at 1530.
All right.
For, I'll just spell the first name, IME.
Okay. All righty.
Next, we got JE long, but we don't have a price.
Okay, yeah, I got to give us a price, guys.
Okay, we'll come back to that one. How about SWBI at 1821 for Stan?
All right, is that Stan G? Okay.
Correct.
All right.
All right, the next one is JLL. Want to short that one at 109.84. That is also a Josh pick.
Uh-oh. We got to have, Josh, we got to only have one pick though, buddy. It's all right.
Is that the same? Yeah, I think so, it's the same, Josh. Yeah, okay. All right, so then George, has George had one?
Yeah, no duplicates here unless you're George Wise had one.
Right, okay. George Young, I'm talking about George Young. Yeah, George, I see George Y on there for Neo, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do, well.
SPWR for Waleed.
We got SPWR 1730 long for Waleed.
All right.
And we have one for Lou, long ISRG. That's a big one. 685 long. And that's for Lou, LOU.
All right. And the last one here is LAC. And that is, what is that, 1038?
Uh-huh. For KJ.
All right. Boy, we had a lot of participants today. I'm going to have to start this earlier. Let's see. And that is KJ, huh?
Correct.
All right. All right, guys. A lot of participants. Good luck to everybody. What's Alan? Did Alan drop one? He's got question marks in there.
Well, let's see if
Oh,
we.
Zoom at 490 long. Okay. Zoom at 490 long.
Yeah, I see it. Okay. That is correct, Dave. Coming up the weekend of November 9th and going for 2 weeks is the next test drive.
Yeah, Scott is about to come on and he will tell you guys all about that. So hang on here and I'll bring him on. I'm going to share these real quick. And I'm going to drop them into the, call them PAs, price alerts, and drop them in there so everybody can have them. All right, guys. Thank you, man. This got a nice group, big group going. We should have some big winners. All right, Scott, you want to come back in and walk us out of here?
Sure thing. Thanks, Andy.
All right.
Test drive is coming up on Monday, the 9th. It's a 2-week test drive. Now's the time to sign up so you don't forget and miss out. Just go to trade-ideas.com/test drive. Read all about it there. It does cost just under $9. That covers your exchange fees and the additional support that we entail when we have the crowd of people. It's a really fun 2 weeks. We do a lot of live streaming support, so stay tuned for that. Just go learn about it at trade-ideas.com/test drive. It's probably our most requested event. We got daily support sessions at trade-ideas.com/live. I think Andy's already mentioned that at the top of the webinar. Just tune in at 12 Eastern and ask away, find out how to do stuff. The earnings ebook is timely. Just go to trade-ideas.com/earnings. It's got some great strategies in there for you to take advantage of earnings season. You can also import those strategies into your layout. We've got a podcast. We have some interviews already up this year that are quite good. So subscribe to that. Just search for Trade Ideas Podcast, and then you'll be ready to catch the next one when it comes out. There's a code fall savings. If you decide you want to go ahead and save 15% off your first month or year of Trade Ideas today, grab that. You can also use that to upgrade from standard to premium. And as we mentioned, the test drive shows you all the premium features for 2 weeks. So it's a really good deal. You can follow Jamie on Twitter at QuantBot. We also have at Today Trader. Facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro is the Facebook page. And as always, send all your questions to info@trade-ideas.com. Goes into our help desk, so it's tracked and you get the support you need as quickly as possible. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to get the recording up later on, and you get an email reminder about how to find it tomorrow. Thanks, Jamie and Andy. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Scott. Alan, yes, you will get an email if you're on our email list. If not, just go to our website and you'll see a pop-up in there for the test drive. You can't miss it at that.
Or go to trade-ideas.com/test drive. We'll get you there too.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'll see some of you tomorrow in the support webinar.
Yep. See you tomorrow.
Stay tuned. Bye.